"Father," said the Prince, "you mistake my compunction. True, I honour Hippolita's virtues, I think her a saint, and wish it were, for my soul's health, to tie faster the knot that has united us. But alas, Father, you know not the bitterest of my pangs. It is some time I have had scruples on the legality of our union. Hippolita is related to me in the 4th degree, it is true. We had a dispensation, but I have been informed that she had also been contracted to another. This it is that sits heavy at my heart. To this state of unlawful wedlock I impute the visitation that has fallen on me in the death of Conrad. Ease my conscience of this burden, dissolve our marriage, and accomplish the work of godliness, which your divine exhortations have commenced in my soul." How cutting was the anguish the good man felt when he perceived this turn in the wily Prince. He trembled for Hippolita, whose ruin he saw was determined, and he feared if Manfred had no hope of recovering Isabella, that his impatience for a son would direct him to some other object, who might not be equally proof against the temptations of Manfred's rank. For some time the holy man remained absorbed in thought. At length, conceiving some hopes from delay, he thought the wisest conduct would be to prevent the Prince from despairing of recovering Isabella. Her the Friar knew he could dispose, from her affections to Hippolita, and from the aversion she had expressed to him for Manfred's address, to second his views, till the censure of the Church could be fulminated against a divorce. With this intention, as if struck with the Prince's scruples, he at length said, "My Lord, I have been pondering on what your Highness has said, and if in truth it is delicacy of conscience that is the real motive of your repugnance to your virtuous lady, far be it from me to endeavour to harden your heart. The Church is an indulgent mother. Unfold your griefs to her. She alone can administer comfort to your soul, either by satisfying your conscience, or upon examination of your scruples, by setting you at liberty, and indulging you in the lawful means of continuing your lineage. In the latter case, if the Lady Isabella can be brought to consent—" Manfred, who concluded that he had either overreached the good man, or that his first warmth had been but a tribute paid to appearance, was overjoyed at this sudden turn, and repeated the most magnificent promises, if he should succeed by the Friar's mediation. The well-meaning priest suffered him to deceive himself, fully determined to traverse his views, instead of seconding them. "Since we now understand one another," resumed the Prince, "I expect, Father, that you satisfy me in one point. Who is the youth that I found in the vault? He must have been privy to Isabella's flight. Tell me truly, is he her lover, or is he an agent for another's passion? I have often suspected Isabella's indifference to my son. 1,000 circumstances crowd on my mind that confirm that suspicion. She herself was so conscious of it, that while I discoursed her in the gallery, she outran my suspicions, and endeavoured to justify herself from the coolness to Conrad." The Friar, who knew nothing of the youth but what he had learnt occasionally from the Princess, ignorant what was become of him, and not sufficiently reflecting on the impetuosity of Manfred's temper, conceived that it might not be amiss to sow seeds of jealousy in his mind. They might be turned to some use hereafter, either by prejudicing the Prince against Isabella, if he persisted in that union, or by diverting his attention to a wrong scent, and employing his thoughts on a visionary intrigue, prevent his engaging in any new pursuit. With this unhappy policy, he answered in a manner to confirm Manfred in his belief of some connection between Isabella and the youth. The Prince, whose passions wanted little fuel to throw them into a blaze, fell into a rage at the idea of what the Friar suggested. "I will fathom to the bottom of this intrigue," cried he, and quitting Jerome abruptly, with a command to remain there till his return, he hastened to the great hall of the castle, and ordered the peasant to be brought before him. "Thou hardened young impostor," said the Prince, as soon as he saw the youth, "what becomes of thy boasted veracity now? It was Providence, was it, and the light of the moon that discovered the lock of the trap door to thee? Tell me, audacious boy, who thou art, and how long thou hast been acquainted with the Princess, and take care to answer with less equivocation than thou didst last night, or torture shall wring the truth from thee." The young man, perceiving that his share in the flight of the Princess was discovered, and concluding that anything he should say could no longer be of any service or detriment to her, replied, "I am no impostor, my lord, nor have I deserved opprobrious language. I answered to every question your Highness put to me last night, with the same veracity that I shall speak now, and that will not be from fear of your tortures, but because my soul abhors a falsehood. Please to repeat your question, my lord. I am ready to give you all the satisfaction in my power." "You know my questions," replied the Prince, "and only want time to prepare an evasion. Speak directly. Who art thou, and how long hast thou been known to the Princess?" "I am a labourer in the next village," said the peasant. "My name is Theodore. The Princess found me in the vault last night. Before that hour I never was in her presence." "I may believe as much or as little as I please of this," said Manfred; "but I will hear thy own story before I examine into the truth of it. Tell me, what reason did the Princess give thee for making her escape? Thy life depends on thy answer." "She told me," replied Theodore, "that she was on the brink of destruction, and that if she could not escape from the castle, she was in danger in a few moments of being made miserable for ever." "And on this slight foundation, on a silly girl's report," said Manfred, "thou didst hazard my displeasure." "I fear no man's displeasure," said Theodore, "when a woman in distress puts herself under my protection." During this examination, Matilda was going to the apartment of Hippolita. At the upper end of the hall, where Manfred sat, was a boarded gallery with latticed windows, through which Matilda and Bianca were to pass. Hearing her father's voice, and seeing the servants assembled round him, she stopped to learn the occasion. The prisoner soon drew her attention. The steady and composed manner in which he answered, and the gallantry of his last reply, which were the first words she heard distinctly, interested her in his favour. His person was noble, handsome, and commanding, even in that situation, but his countenance soon engrossed her whole care. "Heavens, Bianca!" said the Princess softly, "do I dream? Or is not that youth the exact resemblance of Alfonso's picture in the gallery?" She could say no more, for her father's voice grew louder at every word. "This bravado," said he, "surpasses all thy former insolence. Thou shalt experience the wrath which thou darest to trifle. Seize him," continued Manfred, "and bind him. The first news the Princess hears of her champion shall be, that he has lost his head for her sake." "The injustice which thou art guilty towards me," said Theodore, "convinces me that I have done a good deed in delivering the Princess from thy tyranny. May she be happy, whatever becomes of me." "This is a lover!" cried Manfred in rage. "A peasant within sight of death is not animated by such sentiments. Tell me, rash boy, who thou art, or the rack shall force thy secret from thee." "Thou hast threatened me with death already," said the youth, "for the truth I have told thee. If that is all the encouragement I am to expect for sincerity, I am not tempted to indulge thy vain curiosity farther." "Then thou wilt not speak?" said Manfred. "I will not," replied he. "Bear him away into the courtyard," said Manfred. "I will see his head this instant severed from his body." Matilda fainted at hearing those words. Bianca shrieked, and cried, "Help! help! the Princess is dead!" Manfred started at this ejaculation, and demanded what was the matter. The young peasant, who heard it too, was struck with horror, and asked eagerly the same question. But Manfred ordered him to be hurried into the court, and kept there for execution, till he had informed himself of the cause of Bianca's shrieks. When he learned the meaning, he treated it as a womanish panic, and ordering Matilda to be carried to her apartment, he rushed into the court, and calling for one of the guard.